So it looks like I've got the bad karma because I'm the third mindfulness one. So I hope you haven't been filled up with mindfulness and you don't want to hear any more about mindfulness. My mindfulness is a little different from the wonderful presentation we just had about the Vajrayana. I'm going to talk about the mindfulness, a secular mindfulness, a mindfulness that the Vajrayana one is excellent for Buddhist countries, but the secular one is more universal, so that's what I'll be talking about. Just say that this paper is co-authored, so many of you will know Kesang, and many of you won't know me, but mindfulness has become a buzzword. One of the presenters said this, that mindfulness has become a buzzword. The same as like yoga became a buzzword, meditation became a buzzword. So now mindful awareness has become a buzzword. So when things become a buzzword, then we get lots of false information. We get, like our friend in America would say, fake news. So I want to start off really by saying what mindful awareness isn't, because if we start from that point, then we can go on to what mindful awareness is. So the secular mindful awareness is not a religion and it's not a faith. So I go all over the world teaching mindful awareness, and I know some people, they say, no, I'm Christian, I'm Muslim, I'm Hindu, I can't do this practice. So the secular mindful awareness is not a religion. Anybody can follow it, and it's not faith-based. We don't have to believe in a God. It's all to do with our mind. Again, it's not an intellectual exercise. It's not. There are many books, and the last presenter showed a whole list of books on mindfulness. There's probably thousands of books on mindfulness. But you can't just read a book. It's experiential, it's not intellectual. And also, it's not a replacement for medicine and therapy. And this is important, because some people think, oh yeah, look, mindfulness does this, it does this, and there's all this science. Okay, I'll stop my therapy, I'll stop taking the medicine, and I'll just do mindfulness. That's very dangerous. Mindful awareness is excellent when it's in a three-pronged approach: medicine, therapy, mindful awareness. It really works well, but it shouldn't be used just on its own. Also, it's not a quick fix. It takes time. As I said, it's experiential. It's a practice, and we have to keep practicing it. We can't just be mindful for 1 minute and then go back to the future or the past. We have to try to keep bringing mindfulness into our life, so it's not a quick fix. Also, it's not about just emptying our mind. People think that. They think that about meditation. I'll just sit down and I'll empty my mind. Great, if you can do that. But all these thoughts naturally keep coming. I mean, that's just part of human life. So don't think that I'm being mindful and I want to empty my mind. We don't. We want to do the opposite. We want to get in touch with our mind. And also, it's not just about relaxing. Of course, you know, when we're stressed and we do mindful awareness, yeah, we can relax. But it's not just about relaxing. You know, for relaxing, you can have a glass of whiskey, lay down, have a bath, whatever. You can have all those things. So mindful awareness is not about that. It's not about escaping your life. It's, in fact, getting in touch with your life. So that's the things that mindful awareness isn't. So mindful awareness is about getting in touch with this moment, this present moment. So not the future, not the past, this present moment. Now, we as animals, we have the ability to look into the future, to plan for the future, and we have the ability to look back and have memories. They're great tools for us, but we're overusing it. If you could, at the end of the day, look and see how much time you spent thinking and getting anxious about the future, and how much time you spent in having memories and looking in the past, and how much time you spent being present in the moment, you would find that the largest part of your day is in the future, is planning ahead, is thinking, what am I going to do now? What will I do next Tuesday? What am I going to do then? The second largest part is the past, just looking back, worrying what happened, what could I have done. And the most smallest part is the present moment. But if you stop and think, the past is gone. If we've made a mistake, learn from it, move on. The future is not here. Whenever we look into the future, it's just an illusion, it's just a dream. We don't know what the future holds. So the only moment we have is this moment, the present moment. And if we keep missing these moments, what you're doing is missing your life. You think you're living your life, but you're living in the future, you're living in the past. What about now? What about what you should be doing right now? So mindful awareness gives you the tools to be able to focus on what you are doing now. I'm not saying that we should spend the whole of our time in the present moment. It's impossible. We cannot be 24/7 mindful. We have to keep bringing ourselves back. So we can plan for the future. But if we do the planning in a mindful way, mindful means we're focused on now. We're aware of what's happening now. So we can plan. We can look into the future. But we should keep bringing ourselves back to what is happening now. We should keep bringing ourselves back to what we call the awareness triangle, which is what are our emotions? What are our thoughts? What are our body sensations? If we can keep checking in with them, we know exactly what's going on. You know, sometimes people just think, I just became angry. It doesn't happen like that. Emotions don't come like that. Emotions build slowly. So if we keep checking in with ourselves, we can see, okay, at the moment I have some irritability. Deal with it then. Don't wait until that irritability is turned into anger. So when we introduce mindful awareness in the workplace, what we're doing is giving a toolbox. And in this toolbox are the tools to help you deal with the stress of work and with your relationships at work. So there's practices, there's exercises in there, everything you need to mentally help yourself through the work environment. Also, this toolbox, the mindful awareness toolbox, isn't just a set thing. You can adapt it to your company. So when I travel all over the world teaching mindful awareness to companies, first of all, it has to start with the leadership. What are their objectives? What are their values? So from that, we can then mold the mindful awareness into the company instead of trying to put something into the company that doesn't fit. So it's a great thing that we can change the mindful awareness to suit the company. And the mindful awareness has to start at the top. It's no good a few people at the bottom in the workforce just doing mindful awareness and everybody else not. It has to have the commitment from the top. So how the mindful awareness actually works is it works on 3 different levels of your brain. I'm not a scientist, so I'm not going to go into great detail here. But all of our information we take in through our 5 senses come firstly through our reptilian brain. Now that reptilian brain is there to keep us safe, and it does a good job, else we wouldn't be sitting here. The human race would have been wiped out a long time ago. So all this information is coming through. So when there's danger, when the amygdalas in the reptilian brain senses danger, then they will stop information flowing through our brain and they will keep us safe. The problem with this is that these amygdalas don't know the difference between real danger, stepping out in front of a car, or a moment of stress and tension. They will see that stress and that tension also as danger. And then they will shut off any information coming through. So mindful awareness gives us the tools to relax those amygdalas. So if the amygdala is relaxed, information will come through and we'll be able to start to think properly. The second part of the brain that it works on is the limbic system, and this is where lots of our emotions come from. So a lot of the time we get involved with emotion, and emotion comes up and we get so entangled with this emotion. So we try to fight it. of course, we don't want to be sad. We don't want to be lonely. We don't want to be angry. So what we do is we push against it. We keep pushing back. I don't want this. I don't want this. But instead of it going, it just becomes bigger. So mindful awareness helps us to see that we have this emotion. And instead of fighting that emotion, we become aware. We look inward. We say, what am I going through? At the moment, I'm going through sadness. Okay? I become aware of that. I acknowledge that. I don't try to fight it. Okay, yeah. I feel sad at this moment. So how can I help myself through this sadness? Instead of fighting it, how can I help myself through it? Mindful awareness gives you the tools to help you go through this, go through your emotions, not fight them, not try to suppress them, but work with them and to reduce them. So then again, information comes through to your third part of your brain, your neocortex. That's where we want to be. This is where we do our creativity. This is where we do our planning. This is where we do our best organizing. So, you as managers and workers, everybody wants to be thinking here. Students in school, the teachers, everybody wants to be here. So if you have the tools to be able to relax your reptilian brain and to control or to work with your emotions and always let information come through, then mindful awareness is that toolbox for you. Also, years ago, we used to think that the brain stopped evolving at the age around 21. Now we know that's not true. And now we have this neuroplasticity, which means you can change. You can change your brain. You don't have to be the way you've always been. You hear people say, oh, I've always been an angry person. Then change. Don't accept I've always been this angry person. What happens is that we have neurons firing in our brains. And of course, the neurons want to go the easiest path. So if you've always been an angry person, those neurons will keep firing that way and you will stay an angry person. But if you use the mindful awareness to change, what you're doing is having a new path. And once you've got into the habit of doing something different, this will be the way the neurons are firing. So you no longer will be that angry person. You've changed. Mindful awareness gives you that ability to do that. So when we're not being mindful, what happens is we have stimulus, then we react, then our awareness comes in. So a great example of this is somebody comes up to us and shouts at us, the stimulus. Because we've always been this angry person, we just react and we shout back. And then the awareness comes in and we think, no, why did I say that? I didn't mean that. And we do that because we're just reacting. When we're being mindful, we have the stimulus, so somebody shouts at us, but because we're present in the moment, because we're present with our thoughts, our feelings, and our emotions, it means that we have choices. It means that we don't have to react. We can respond. So when we're present, we can see, okay, I don't want to shout back at this person. It's not going to be good for me. It's not going to be good for them. So then I respond in a different way, in a kinder way. So first of all, we have the stimulus, then we have the awareness, and then we respond. It's a much better way to be. And when we're not being mindful, we spend a lot of time apologizing for saying things and doing things we didn't really mean because we're not being mindful. When we're being mindful, we don't have to apologize because our awareness has come in and we responded to the situation instead of reacting to the situation. It's a big difference. So if you have a look at, you may think then, does the workforce really need mindful awareness? But you have a look, since 2009, the number of 6 days lost from stress and anxiety and tension has increased by 24% in that short period of time. And it's going up year on year on year. So I would say, yeah, most definitely businesses need to have mindful awareness in their well-being package. It also states there that 70 million sick days were lost in the UK for mental health issues. That's a lot. Can a business afford that? So, and if you still are not convinced that business should have mindful awareness, then just look at these questions here and just go through them. And if you answer yes to one or more of these, I would say, yeah, most definitely, your business needs to have mindful awareness as part of your well-being package. So, the benefits of mindful awareness. So, well-being and resilience. So you've just seen there the absenteeism from mental health issues and staff turnover cost a company a lot of money. So mindful awareness gives the staff the resilience. It keeps the staff. You don't get such a high staff turnover. The staff are not becoming stressed out and burnt out and overwhelmed. So it helps in that way. Also, mindful awareness is contagious. All these facts here, that I haven't put the references, but if you read the paper, all these are referenced. So it's shown that mindful awareness in the workplace is contagious. Now, you know, when we introduce mindful awareness into a company or into a school, I always say, what's your expectations? Because people think, yeah, okay, now, tomorrow we're all going to be mindful and everything will be great. And of course, it doesn't work that way. Some people will buy into mindful awareness straight away, and other people will take time. But what happens is that there's a big group of people who buy into it straight away, and then more and more other people will be buying into it when they see the benefits, when they see that people are changing, the work environment is becoming better. So it is most definitely contagious. Also, the workforce relationships are better. You know, when we're being mindful, it means that I'm present with that person. So if somebody is a fellow worker is in front of me here, and they're talking away, but my body is here in front of them, but my mind is thinking, yeah, when I get home, I'll have this for dinner, and then I'll go out, then I'm not engaging with that person. So with mindful awareness, I'm present here. So I'm present with my thoughts, with my emotions, with my body sensations, and I'm present with the immediate environment. I'm present with this person. So then that builds compassion and empathy. It's not like I'm trying to build compassion and empathy. Just because I'm there and I'm really listening and I'm really engaged with that person, compassion and empathy will be a byproduct of that. It will naturally come. So then your workforce relationships will get better. Improved focus. The one thing that we have little of these days is that our focus is getting less and less and less. Our attention span is becoming smaller and smaller. There's so many things now to distract us, and particularly the cell phones, the mobile phones, they distract us a lot. So with mindful awareness, where we keep giving the tools, show the workforce the tools to keep bringing themselves back into the moment, it improves their focus and it improves their attention span. You know, if you have, you're in the middle of a big project you're doing, and then the phone, you get a message on the phone and you turn away. When you turn back, you can't go back to the exact focus that you had before. It takes over 20 minutes to bring your focus back. So one distraction could take you away for more than 20 minutes from the work you were doing. And if you had lots of distractions around you, just imagine, how do we get any work done, really? So it improves the focus. It reduces stress levels. Of course it does, because we get to know ourselves. We use that awareness triangle. We get to know about what are my emotions and what are my thoughts and what are my body sensations. So when we know what's happening, we have the tools to deal with that. it builds better leaders for exactly the same reason that I said about the workforce being compassionate and empathic. It builds better leaders for that reason. If the leadership are empathic with the workers, then of course the relationship is going to be a good one. And it also, mindful awareness increases our happiness. Of course, happiness is very subjective, but if you're in a workspace where everybody is happy, everybody is communicating well, you have the tools. If you're feeling overwhelmed and stressed, you have the tools to deal with that. Of course, you're going to be happy. And I would say here that one little word of caution about this happiness, that a lot of what I see in put into effect in the well-being programs is outside happiness. This outside happiness is just short-lived. It's internal happiness where it lasts longer. If you change the work environment for people, it's great, of course it is. But after a couple of weeks, it becomes the work environment. The happiness that they had from that change has gone. So if you're just focusing your well-being programs on outside, then it's not going to last. So we need to put in the well-being programs. You need to put internal factors. So mindful awareness, meditation, yoga, pranayama, breathing yoga. You need to put those into your well-being program so people get the chance to look inside. The whole of life is not outside. The main part and lasting happiness is within and not without. So,
1 minute.
Oh, I was just going to ask that. Okay, so I don't have time to go through all of these practices, but if you read the paper, then you'll see that I've put various practices that you can read through and you can try. But in this 1 minute, I am going to teach you one thing, and this is the 5, 6, 7 breath. I need you to go away from here learning something today. So the 5, 6, 7 breath is your greatest tool for calming you down, for making you more focused. It's something that you can do anywhere. You have your breath all the time. If you don't have your breath, then that's a different problem. So we have our breath, we can breathe. So this tool we can use wherever we are. If we're in a traffic jam, if we're in a queue, wherever you are, you can do the 5, 6, 7 breath. So what we're doing, we're breathing in deeply through our nose to the count of 5, and then we will hold the breath for the count of 6. And then we push all the air out through our mouth for the count of 7. Now what we're doing here, when we're breathing in deeply through our nose and counting to 5, we're putting lots of clean oxygen into our lungs. When we hold the breath for the count of 6, that oxygen is sent around your body. That's when you become calm. That's when you become more focused. And then we blow the air out through our mouth, because if we blow it out through our mouth, we can get more air out. And we blow it out to the count of 7. And that is so we can push out all this stale air. Because when our body is full of stale air, we become tired and we become listless. So we're breathing into the count of 5, holding for the count of 6, and pushing the air out for the count of 7. You do that 3 times, and I assure you, you will calm down, okay? So you can try it in your own time, because I'm sure my minute is up. So thank you very much for listening, and Tashi Dele.